Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Curly K, and I'm here today to discuss All American Season 2, Episode 11. I think it was called All In. Y'all. Okay, I always say I have so many thoughts, but like this episode to me just seemed extra dramatic. Like, I feel like the story, in the grand scheme of everything, the story was giving filler this episode, but I feel like everything was dramatized. I know it's a drama, but like everything was extra dramatic. Like to me, that whole scene with JR and Nate, extra dramatic. That whole scene with Nate and Walina or whatever the girl name was, extra dramatic. I feel like Simone taking that yard gate post out of hand, extra dramatic. I mean, okay, let me just start by saying this. Y'all gonna be mad because I'm gonna compare Homecoming and All American stories probably every week because I feel like the storylines are like running very, very similar. So in terms of Simone and this yard yak post, I can understand why she felt like the yard yak post may have been her. But at that time, Simone said her anxiety got the best of her. But I'm like, Simone, you're at a university where there are multiple sports being played at this university, and it's multiple student athletes living in your dorm building. So you thinking that you and Damon could have been that couple seemed like far-fetched, especially when they didn't name anybody in Yard Yak post. And this whole Yard Yak storyline somewhat reminded me of when Liv had her yard yak situation in the beginning of All American when they first got to school, except for the post was actually about Liv, and Liv knew it was about her. She just didn't know who posted it or who paid who to post it. But all in all, it still felt far-fetched. And like, Homecoming is painting Simone to be a runner. And by a runner, I mean like somebody who don't necessarily deal with their issues. I mean, eventually, like, she always does have to deal with them. But, like, her first instinct is to always run and to not face situations head on. And, which, in comparison to Spencer, dang, Spencer been running the last couple episodes as well. But he been avoiding. Yeah. So, yeah. I can see that. Y'all, I feel like I'm just gonna be honest. Usually when I do reviews, I only watch Homecoming because that's the show I cared about the most. But seeing as though All American had an intense episode last night, I keep going back and forth with both episodes in my mind. So I'm trying not to conflate the two while I'm giving this review. Okay, but that girl Walina been hating on Nate from the beginning, and I'm glad that she finally sat down and talked to Nate. Well, her and Nate actually came to agreement or, meeting of the minds, whatever. They started, because she was just giving Nate a hard time for no reason. And yeah, sometimes you don't agree with people's lifestyles and, excuse me, sometimes you don't agree with people's lifestyles and the things that they do, but that's on them to live their life. Like, she was just judging Nate based off of Nate's lifestyle, and instead of moving forward with love, and she's sitting here talking about being a Christian, and that's why, honestly, like, a lot of people have, especially a lot of black people, I'm just gonna talk about black people because I'm black, period, but that's why a lot of black people have issues with the black church or black religious groups or whatever when it comes to Christians and their faith. It's because a lot of black people in their adolescent years grew up with church trauma. And that basically sways them from ever, going to church or even pursuing a relationship with God because of the reaction or the interaction they have with people. And I feel like that's a very real thing, and stuff like that kind of aggravates me because, yeah, like, as a Christian, I don't agree with a lot of things that people do, whether they do it in the name of the Lord or if they do it because they don't believe in the Lord. But it's just like, how can you say you believe this faith or you serve this God where God is love, regardless of whatever? People sin all the time. No sin is greater than another one. And so, as a person develops their relationship with God, God will correct them. Or, like, if it's something that God don't agree with, God will let that person know, or God will lead. God will make sure that that person needs to hear what they need to hear when they need to hear it. People be so focused on the person living their life and the mistakes that they made. They don't focus on the message itself, which is love. It says in the Bible, love covers a multitude of sins. So even if she didn't agree with Nate's lifestyle, like, that wasn't on her to say. Because at the end of the day, Nate got to stand before God, just like she had to stand before God, and account for the things that she did or they did. Like, it's just, but people also need to extend other people grace. And people also forget that Christians are people. Christians are not perfect. I know a lot of Christians probably try to live their life perfect, but Christians are not perfect. They're humans too. They're made of flesh and bone, just like everybody else, and they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to say things that's out of order, and, everything. So it's just like, yeah. So I was, there for that. I'm glad that everybody tried to make sure Damon was straight, as far as, like, make sure he wasn't grieving, because everybody seemed to, they tried to paint this narrative that the midterms had everybody stressed out, which is very much like a very serious thing that happens at college, because everybody literally be walking around in sweats. Everybody literally be walking around and running around just in a daze for the time period of midterms and exams. But Damon flunked his test, and he was trying to figure out why he flunked it, because everybody does process grief differently. But Damon ended up finding out that, like, he's better learning stuff hands-on versus it being on paper. And I'm the same way as well. Like, I will watch a video how to do something all day. I'll still read the instructions, but in order to get the complete picture, I always need, like, a demonstration. So I agree with Damon on that. I was there for the whole scene with Nate and Damon coming together, helping Damon to figure out his whole situation with math with Nate. I'm happy that Nate decided to continue to run for office, because I think that would be a great storyline with Nate, because Nate seemed to be a supporting character a lot in season 1, and so I feel like, I'm happy in season 2 that Nate is starting to get a storyline. But also, what was brought up on Twitter last night was that when Keisha is in the episode, Nate's not in the episode. And so I just think that's happenstance. I don't think that's, like, nothing considering, like, the budget. But you got to know, like, everybody's storyline, is not going to come. It's not going to go with each episode, if that makes sense. Because there have been episodes where on All American, other cast members have been missing from episodes. It's just because of what's going on in the topic of the episode. Everybody's not going to be in it. But, like, I'm here for Amara and her girlfriend having a conversation about, her love triangle that she in. I'm glad that they give Auntie Amara a storyline, because To me, Auntie Amara is kind of running that motherly character like Grace was in All American. And they didn't really give Grace a storyline until up until she got married, at least in my opinion. And they're actually giving Auntie a storyline, which I do like. And I am interested in her and Marcus's love, their romantic situation. And I'm interested in finding out, what's gonna happen moving forward. Because Amara did reveal to Marcus that she was seeing somebody else. But Marcus clearly told Amara that he was interested in pursuing a relationship. And I'm happy that she obliged and she's gonna do that. Because I do think that there are some unsolved feelings or unanswered questions, or I think there are things that need to be resolved between Marcus and Amara. And I feel like I would love to see that on screen. JR and Cam, for some reason, there was some division between Cam and his line brothers. But come to find out that ADP, who JR told not to be hard on Cam no more, decided not to be hard on Cam, but decided to take the other pledges outside of the line and school them on how to be a KK, because he felt like JR was being soft on them. But at the same time, I don't know, that look that other frat brother gave JR after he told him he couldn't be ADP no more, it was a very concerning look, because he looked like he was gonna do something crazy. But like Cam said, the line is supposed to always support each other, and they're always supposed to be there for each other, and it's not supposed to be secrets. And so I'm glad that they ended up figuring out what the issue was. That way they can move forward and have a line. I don't know, but to me, I know that people are supposed to depend on their lines when they're pledging, but I really hope that Simone does not change when she crosses PKZ, because I don't know, I just got a feeling it's gonna go to her head or something. I don't know. It was just the way the episode was going. I know she depended on them. She went to them for guidance, because she thought that the article or the little Garyak post was about her. But I guess it's kind of going back to what Lando told her a couple episodes ago, that you need to try to be open to them and trust them, even though, your first experience with your teammates was the best. Okay, y'all, I'm just trying to tackle everything before I get to Simone and Damon, because I feel like, a lot of people watch TV. A lot of people watch shows with, them hoping or thinking what they want to happen, and not how the show is actually written. So I know a lot of people was not for Damon, and they was for Lamone, but we just gonna have to be honest. I went back and watched a few scenes from All American when Simone and Jordan was together. And trust me, this little sidebar is gonna lead to my thoughts on Simone and Damon's interaction this episode. So I was watching some scenes between Jordan and Simone before Jordan and Simone broke up. When Simone went home and when Jordan came to Bringston, I think that last time before she went to LA and broke up with him. And from the beginning, their relationship was good. But when Simone decided to go to Bringston and Jordan was going to GAU, Simone started getting close with Damon, because both her and Damon were kind of going through something at the same time. And then Jordan started getting close with Layla, and Layla was going through something as well. And Jordan kind of befriended her and was there for her. So it kind of started off the same way. Jordan and Layla and Damon and Simone. But to me, the only difference between Jordan and Simone was that Simone had enough emotional intelligence to put boundaries up as far as her relationship with Damon at the time, and Jordan did not, because Jordan thought he had everything figured out. He didn't think that he was doing anything wrong, but sometimes, men are oblivious to the fact that they are falling for a woman. I mean, women are too, but I think it's more so, men than women sometimes. And it was an episode of Homecoming when Jordan was there, and Simone was having a conversation with Keisha, and she was just like, I don't know, Keisha, something seemed off. Something seems off about me and Jordan. So as you know, like, Simone ended up going to LA, and she ended up breaking up with Jordan. And then right after that, Jordan started pursuing Layla real hard. So it was just like he didn't even try to, like, figure things out, whether or not he still loved her, or even tried to get over Simone. He just entered into something with Layla. But on the other hand, Simone, to me, kind of waited. There was distance, between her and Damon. Well, then Damon also did get with Thea, which probably created that distance, because who's to say? But, there was sometimes Simone had to, herself, to try to get herself together with tennis and her academics and, her social life, and, decided she wanted to pledge. All this stuff happened in between her, before she started entertaining Lando. So here's another thing that I noticed, to piggyback off of those thoughts. People were saying that Simone and Damon are doing Lando and Thea wrong. But I have some opposing opinions about that, and here's why. One, in terms of Simone and Thea is not blind to the fact that Damon and Simone like each other, because there have been multiple times throughout the series that Thea actually said something to Simone about it. When Thea first hurt her shoulder, she was like, Simone, I may have won the guy, but boo, boo, boo. So when she was just like, when I won the guy, that was letting her know that she knew right then that she knew about Simone. Well, before that, she overheard Damon and Simone's conversation last season about if timing had been perfect, they would have been together, and that they wonder what it's like to be together all the time. Both of them had that conversation. Then when Keena, Damon's mama, was calling Simone, she was like, you would think she would call me because I'm his ex-girlfriend, but she's calling you to comfort Damon and to tell you everything about Damon. So I'm just like, okay. So then here we are leading up to, we get to this part, we get to different points of the episode where Damon and Simone are trying to figure out their relationship with each other. I saw people talking on Twitter last night about Damon having flashbacks about Simone, but they ain't saying nothing about Simone having a flashback about Damon. So to me, when I was reading from Twitter, it looked one-sided, like Damon was having all these thoughts and feelings about Simone, but he didn't know if Simone felt the same way. But it was clear on screen last night that both Damon and Simone have feelings for each other, and they both was trying to figure out a way to approach each other to say those feelings. Now, in terms of JR and Nate's part of it, on All American, we got the Vortex, right? And in the Vortex, they always make jokes about the Vortex. The Vortex is always referenced on All American because everybody used to date each other within the circle. And typically when you have subsets of people who have something in common, typically that happens often where people may date, depending on what's going on. So, them saying that referring to JR and Nate, them having concerns about the family and whether or not Simone and Damon date were real concerns, and I could see them having that because, sometimes when everybody's friends in a group and then two people start dating, it does mess up the chemistry of the group. But why is it that for Simone and Damon, but it's not that for Keisha and Cam? And that's the part I don't understand, because Keisha and Cam both started going to family dinners and Keisha and Cam dated. But it was okay for Keisha and Cam to get together. And that's not going to mess up the dynamic of the group if Keisha and Cam don't be together. But it's going to mess up the dynamic of the group if Simone and Damon get together. So that part I didn't really understand. And, family dinner stopped being a thing while Keisha and Cam is and currently are still together. So I was just like, okay. But I could understand them saying that because, in terms of the friendship, JR talking to Damon about, you and her are such great friends. Do you want to risk that friendship? And that goes back to my conversation, which is probably like the 4th week of me talking about emotional currency and how, is it worth spending? Because, being in a very good friendship with somebody is emotionally, socially, sometimes romantically, mentally, all of that expensive, and it seems like to me, Damon and Simone are both getting to the point where they're willing to invest in each other, with their emotional coins. Nate saying to Simone that she don't think it was a good time for Simone and Damon to talk is because Simone's trying to figure herself out. Damon is grieving. I feel like Nate's points were kind of lackluster compared to JR's, but all in all, I think both Nate and Damon both Nate and JR were wrong, and how they conspired to go to Damon and Simone to try to sway them on them deciding that they wanted to be together, which y'all know, for writing purposes, in order to continue to have a show, they were going to, draw this out. But at least we know how both Damon and Simone truly feel for each other. So moving forward, that's going to make everything else messy, because Damon and Simone know how they feel for each other, but Damon just got out of a relationship with Thea, and Simone was having an entanglement with Lando. So it kind of put them both in a sticky situation a little bit. Not really, but kind of, sort of. But as far as next episode, I saw the trailer and I saw that they were having a masquerade ball and Damon was dancing with Thea, and I saw Lando dancing with Simone, but I did see Damon walk up to Simone and kiss her hand. So I'm like, that's interesting. I do think when Damon and Simone went to go meet later that night, that regardless of what JR said, Damon was ready to tell Simone how he felt. And I know that Damon knows how Simone feels about him. He knows. But I don't think he's sure of why she won't pursue him. And so I think he's going to spend the rest of the season trying to figure that out, why she won't, go all in if they feel X, Y, and Z for each other. But when Simone and Damon were on the steps talking, Simone made a statement and she was like, we're just better off being friends, right? So I think she was waiting for Damon to say, no, I don't think we better off being friends. I think she was waiting on Damon to spill the beans because they kind of both were waiting for each other to say something. But since neither one of them took that step to say something, both of them just agreed to disagree, kind of. Like, she was like, we're better off being friends, right? And Damon was like, yeah, sure. Because that's neither what both of them wanted. And so when they did that last hug, you can see, like, in his mind, he was like, dang. And you can see on her mind, she was like, dang. And so I'm just like, dang. So here we are. We're going to have to keep going forward. But at least we know that they both know how they felt with each other. Because Damon came to the realization that that kiss with Simone was real and that wasn't just grief. That was real between them. And that his emotions and his thinking wasn't conflated. And Simone told Nate that she knew that that kiss with Damon was real and that she's ready to tell him how she felt about it. Do I think Simone and Lando, do I think Damon and Simone are wrong in terms of the way Lando and Simone, in terms of Lando and Thea and the way they're being treated? No. I don't think Simone owes Thea nothing because her and Thea are not friends. Did she try to pursue a friendship with Thea? Yes. But her friendship with Thea did not work out and it keeps not working out. And so even Thea made the statement last episode that we're just better off trying to figure out who we are as teammates. And we obviously know that Damon and Lando have that same feeling. Like, they just better off being as teammates. They never gonna agree. They never gonna, like, hang out or hang out or be friends. But they content with being cordial and being cool as teammates. And it be like that sometimes when you're on a team. I'm not even gonna fake. Like, it be like that. Yeah, y'all. So, Team Damone is in the works. Eventually, Simone and Damon are going to get together. And eventually, Simone and Damon, are going to be in game. It's just, my one wish during this episode was that outside of everything that was going on around Simone and Damon, I wish that Simone and Damon could have had a clear conversation and effectively communicated their feelings, because I feel like that does need to be done on screen more, like in terms of like shows, because typically shows, when it's a drama or it's like a dramedy, it's always, when people are in relationships, there's always drama and there's always opposing forces, and there's always it's always shown that, people don't never communicate right. But, it's always shown that people, Lord, y'all, lost my train of thought. Okay, y'all, I got it together now. In terms of like when relationships are depicted on screen, they're always shown in a complex way. We never really get a show where a man and a woman are together, or, a guy and a girl are together, and they are having issues in their relationship. It's always some kind of, drama. We don't really get episodes where a guy and girl are happy and we can see them effectively problem solve how to be together. The communication is always warped, But, maybe next season, if Damon and Simone decide to be together this season and it goes into next season, hopefully we can get them being together and we can get, people effectively communicating on screen. Because I do feel like that was sort of done with Cam and Keisha. Last episode, when Keisha talked to Cam sideways, Cam effectively communicated to Keisha that we got to talk. We got to be on the same page, We got to, work it out. And even though Simone and Damon do always eventually work out, you know, their mishaps, Simone doesn't tend to really effectively do that with Damon until after the fact. So, yeah, y'all. This review is 30 minutes. Stay tuned because my review for All American is coming. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the episode. And I'll be back with more videos. Deuces.